Hello guys, we're back again on Daily Markets Academy. On today's video, we're here to give you a weekly focus. So without wasting any time, let's jump back to the charts. We're going to start with Aud Cad. As you know, in Daily Markets Academy, we start on a multi-time frame analysis, starting from a higher time frame going to a lower time frame. So we're going to start on the daily time frame, spotting the momentum of the market. As you know, as a long trader or a short trader, you must always respect the impulse or the long-term momentum of the market in order for you to catch big pips, a large number of pips, and risking a small amount of pips. So moving on to daily. As you can see, the market has been moving to the downside, guys. I repeat, the market has been moving to the downside. The market has been bearish on AUDCAD daily. As you can see, the market pushed to the downside, came back to create a lower high, broke the previous lower low to create a new lower low. So as you can see, the market is pushing to the downside on daily, guys. I repeat, the market is pushing to the downside on daily. Moving on to 4 hour. As you can see, the market has been impulsing to the downside, creating lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, created a lower low, pushed to the upside, creating a lower high, pushed to the downside, failed to break the previous lower low, which can be an indication of the market reversing, guys. As you can see, this can be an indication of the market reversing, so we must pay attention to the structure. But all I can say is that the market created a retest here and went back to the upside, creating a lower high, then came back to test at the same area, which is a third retest, which means that this is a powerful support. As you can see, it tested for the first time, for the second time, for the third time, then impulse to the upside, breaking the previous lower high, so this indicates that on the 4-hour time frame on an uptrend. So this can be a reversal which is going to push back to the upside, but for being on the safer side, one could catch an entry around this key area here, coming back to this previous lower high of daily, because on the daily time frame we're still on a downtrend. The market has not started breaking lower highs in order for the indication of a higher of an uptrend. So always stay in the direction of the momentum in order for yourself to be on the safe side. So as you can see, on a 4-hour time frame, we broke the previous lower high, which indicates that the market now is ready to push to the upside, but in respect of the higher time frame of the daily. So as you can see, let me zoom in, guys. The market broke this previous lower high of the 4-hour, which indicates that now the market is correcting. It broke and gave us a correction, which can be a breakout to the upside, coming back to this key area here, to this high area. But we are not market predictors, so you must always pay attention to what the market tells you around this key area here. So that tells us to go to a lower time frame. As you can see, the market has been pushing around this two support and resistance for the 1 hour. So this indicates that the market, after it breaks, going to come and retest, then you're going to push it to the upside, coming to this higher high, to this lower high of the daily. But if the market breaks to the downside, then we're still on a downtrend, guys. You're going to flow with it, coming back to this previous lower low, as the market has to respect the downtrend of the daily and break to the downside to create a new lower low. So one could wait and see what happens around this key area here, whether the market breaks to the upside or whether the market breaks to the downside. Then whenever it breaks to the downside, you can use smart money concept, whereby you look for order blocks, efficiency in order to catch liquidity, or you can trade as a retail trader and go on a lower time frame, catch where the market breaks out of structure on a lower time frame, then flow with where the direction is going around this after it breaks this two support and resistance. Moving on to GBP JPY, starting on a higher time frame. As you can see, GBP Jpy on daily has been on an uptrend. As you can see, the market created a higher low, created a higher high, and came back to create a higher low, and came back to break the previous higher high, which in case of the market hasn't, the momentum is to the upside, and created a new higher high, then came back to create a new higher low, then respected this previous higher high by not breaking the structure to the upside. As you can see, it failed to break the structure to the upside, then came back to create a new higher low, then went up again to respect that key area here with the third touch, as you can see, then came back to create a lower high again. So this indicates that we're still on an uptrend to create a higher low. Sorry, this indicates that we're still on an uptrend as the market has not started breaking the higher lows of the daily. After the market starts to break the higher lows of the daily, that's when we're gonna say on the daily we're on a downtrend. So as you can see, moving on to the 4-hour time frame. So as you can see, also on the 4-hour time frame, the market broke the previous structure. As you can see, it was on low, creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Then the market started breaking the previous lower high, which indicates that on the 4-hour now we're on an uptrend. So this is a good sign, as you know that on the daily also we're on an uptrend, as we have not started breaking the previous higher lows on a daily. So the daily and the 4-hour now are aligning into the same direction, which indicates that now there's gonna be a huge move to the upside, but respecting this area here that the market failed to break. So one could use this as TP point, or this one as TP point, or this one. So it's all about being safe and respecting the market structure, and also allowing the market to tell you what happens around this key area here. Let's move to the lower time frame, because you can't predict the market. Always follow what the price action tells you. So as you can see, the market pushed to the upside after breaking the structure, started correcting. This is a good sign because it shows that now the market is collecting liquidity in order for it to break to the upside. As you can see, it created a double bottom. You can see there's a double bottom, and for one to trade this market, must wait for it to break this support and resistance in order for one to be in a trade. So one could wait for it to break and close above this key area here, whereby now we're going to wait for it to enter on the lower time frame and catching it when it breaks the lower time frame to the upside, or when it breaks to the downside, whereby now we're going to wait, check, which will be an indication that now also the daily wants to come to this previous support. So if it breaks to the downside, one would wait for it to retest, then hold it to the downside until this key area here. So this is what we see on GJ, guys. This is what we see on GBP JPY. Moving on to Euro USD, starting with the higher time frame. As you can see on the higher time frame, guys, of the daily, the market has been pushing to the downside. As you can see, the market created a lower low, went back to create a lower high, went back and break the previous lower low, which indicates that now we're in a downtrend, to create a lower low. Then the market came back to create a lower high. We call this a lower high because it failed to break the previous lower high. So this is a valid lower high. Then the market came back to retest this area here, then pushed to the downside, breaking the previous lower low, which indicates that we're forming a new lower low. So the market now on the daily, we're waiting for it to break the structure to flow with it to the upside, hoping to come around this key area here with it. So now one could go to the 4-hour time frame. as you can see on the 4-hour time frame, the market kept on creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, and created a double bottom here. As you can see, okay, the double bottom, then the market collected liquidity, so pushing to the upside. So now on the 4-hour, waiting for it to break this previous structure here to indicate that now we're in an uptrend. But if it remains below this lower high, then we're still on a downtrend, because you cannot estimate that we're in an uptrend while the market still respects the downtrend of the 4-hour. So if we want to catch an entry, one could go on a lower time frame and see what happens around this key right here when the market gets to this key right here, whether it breaks or whether it goes to the downside. So if it prints out a rejection around here on a lower time frame, then we're gonna hold it to the downside, coming to the previous lower low, as the market has to break the lower low in order to respect the market structure, the trend of the downtrend of the higher time frame. So moving on to the 1 hour, as you can see, one could have entered and holded an entry around this key when the market started in the lower time frame. The market went up and went down, then market broke the previous structure, then went down to collect liquidity. Then now one could have entered around here, waiting for it to break the break out of structure on a lower time frame, holding into the upside. So we're still on a small buy until this key area here, whereby we're gonna wait for the market and see what happens on this key area here. This is what we see on Euro USD. Moving on to USD JPY, going on a higher time frame. Always, guys, remember to go to the higher time frame in order for you to flow with the momentum, to avoid your stop loss getting kicked out each time you enter a trade. So going to a daily time frame, as you can see on the daily time frame, we're in a beautiful uptrend. As you can see, the market printed a higher high, higher low, broke the previous higher high, pushing to the upside, creating a massive higher high, new higher high. Then the market created a new higher low, then the market broke the previous higher high. As you can see, even I added this key area here, whereby it's a resistance. The market broke the resistance and turned into a support, as you can see. Then the market pushed to the upside, then the market pushed to the upside, breaking the previous lower higher low, higher high, So now we're here to create a new higher high, as this is the highest point that USD JPY has ever been. So we must be careful, because we do not have a previous structure that could help us spot some key areas where the market is going to reject. So always use proper risk management, guys, and secure your profits. Don't be greedy. Always use a stop loss as your weapon. Lock some profits so that when the market comes back, because now we're going to form a new higher high for the daily. So this is a big move here, because the market can still keep on pushing to the upside. That's how USD Jpy likes to move. But also use your stop loss as your weapon, because it's a major pair and it can go down massively and take you out. So you can lose all your money. So you must always play on the safe side. So going to the 4-hour time frame, as you can see on the 4-hour time frame, we are busy creating higher highs, higher lows, a new higher high, created a new higher low, then we broke the previous higher high, moving to the upside. So the market now, we could say it's coming back to this key area here to give us a new higher low, which we're gonna use it for an entry, depending on what type of a trader you are. One could use smart money concept, or one could use retrader strategy, whereby you're gonna wait for it to break the structure on the lower time frame, holding it to the upside. So one, as a smart money concept trader, you can use order blocks and efficiency around this key area here, whereby you're gonna spot and push with it to the upside, depending on what type of a trader you are. So moving on to the 1-hour time frame. Okay, as you can see on 1 hour, already pushing into the downside massively. So one could have entered here if you're a short-term trader, but if you're a long-term trader, you must wait for it to give you a valid structure and a good risk to reward ratio. As you can see, when it gets to this key here, it would be respecting also the previous higher high, also respecting this trend line of the 4 hour. So this is a good entry, guys. As you can see, this is a key area here that's gonna have a lot of liquidity, so one could wait for this market to get to this key area here, because this is where a lot of moves is gonna be happening. So wait for it and see on the low time frame what happens on this key area here, whether it breaks to the downside, it comes back to retest, then you hold it to the downside, or it's going to keep on retesting here and pushing to the upside. But mostly USD Jpy likes to buy more than say going bearish. So I'm not saying the market always bullish, but as you can see, guys, the market has been pushing to the upside. It has been pushing to the upside massively, as on the previous week we were able to catch this move here because we entered around this key area here. Then we hold this big move until the market started printing out this structure here, and it took us out with this candle. As we locked out maximum profits around this area here, then the market came down and took us out. So that's good trade management, as one could have just left the stop loss around this key, whereby the market will come back and take all the money that you have been building up. So never return your money to the market, always lock some profits, so that at the end of the day you go home with something. So I thank you guys. This is Daily Markets Academy. Remember to like and subscribe, and also share and hit the comment section below on which pairs you would like us as Daily Markets Academy to trade with you, go with you on a weekly focus. And also signals, you can hit our Daily Markets Academy at the Instagram. You can check us there, and if you want signals you can contact there, and then you get service there. So yes guys, enjoy your week and wish you all a profitable week. Thank you.